Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Shovel Dad 78. Thanks for the suggestion, Shovel Dad. You asked, why is Death Valley so insanely hot? If you've ever seen weather reports naming Death Valley as the hottest place on Earth, you might have wondered what makes it so extreme. Is it just the desert doing desert things? Or is there something special, or maybe terrible, going on here? Today, we're unpacking the geography, science, and sneaky environmental factors that all team up to roast this desert to record-breaking temperatures, right here on Explaining Everything. Before we break a sweat from all the science, let's locate the scene of the heat crime. Death Valley is in eastern California, near the border with Nevada, and it's part of the Mojave Desert. At its lowest point, 282 feet below sea level, sits a place called Furnace Creek. In 1913, that spot recorded the hottest air temperature ever officially measured on Earth, a staggering 134 degrees Fahrenheit, or 56.7 degrees Celsius. That's not just, wow, it's hot. That's, this thermometer might explode hot. But why does this specific place cook so thoroughly? The Sahara is bigger. The Middle East has deserts too. So why is Death Valley the MVP of meltdown? It turns out Death Valley has a very precise and very mean recipe for extreme heat. And it starts with the shape of the land itself. Death Valley is a basin, which means it's shaped like a big dip in the Earth's crust. This dip traps air, and since it's below sea level, the air is thicker than usual. Thicker air heats up more efficiently, and when sunlight pours down on the valley floor, that dense air absorbs and holds onto heat like a thermal sponge. But here's the kicker. Because it's shaped like a bowl, that heat has nowhere to go. It gets stuck. So every time the sun comes back up, it's like someone hits the reheat button on the microwave, except the whole valley is the dish. This trapped air gets hotter each day, making Death Valley feel like Earth's version of an air fryer set to permanent broil. Next up, the surrounding mountains. Death Valley is boxed in by several ranges, including the Panamint Mountains to the west. These peaks play a big role in keeping the valley both dry and toasty. When moist air from the Pacific Ocean travels inland, it has to climb over those tall mountains. As it rises, it cools and loses its moisture in the form of rain or snow, usually long before reaching the valley. By the time it crosses over into Death Valley, the air is dry, hot, and absolutely not in the mood to rain. This is called the rain shadow effect, and it's one of the main reasons Death Valley gets so little precipitation, sometimes less than 2 inches a year. That dry air means fewer clouds, and fewer clouds mean more direct sunlight hammering the ground all day long. Take a walk through Death Valley, ideally not in summer, and you'll notice the ground is made up of salt flats, rocks, and sand. All of these surfaces absorb heat quickly and then radiate it right back up into the air. The salt flats especially act like big mirrors. But instead of bouncing the heat away into space, that energy often just gets recycled back into the dense air sitting in the basin. And since the air is so dry, There's not much moisture to hold onto that warmth at night. While temperatures can drop after sunset, much of the heat stays close to the surface, making nights feel more like a low simmer than a proper cool down. You might have heard people say, "At least it's a dry heat," as if that's a good thing. In Death Valley's case, it kind of is, but only if you're comparing it to a sauna. Dry air means your sweat evaporates quickly, which should help your body cool down. But the problem is that evaporation happens so fast, your body has to produce more sweat just to keep up. If you don't stay hydrated, you dehydrate fast, and that can get dangerous quickly. Humidity also helps keep nighttime temperatures a little warmer because water vapor holds heat, but Death Valley doesn't have that. So all the heat comes during the day, and the nighttime reprieve is minor, especially in summer, when nighttime lows can still be over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. During summer, all of this ramps up. The sun is nearly overhead, so the rays are direct and intense. Daylight lasts over 14 hours. And because the valley's been heating up for months, the air and the ground are both primed to absorb and hold even more heat. It's not uncommon for temperatures to stay above 120 degrees Fahrenheit for days at a time, and some nights won't drop below 100 degrees. That means you go to sleep in an oven and wake up in a toaster. There's no real relief, just different flavors of hot. Death Valley is the perfect storm of heat. A landscape sunken below sea level, dense air that clings to warmth, bone-dry conditions that erase any hint of moisture, still winds that refuse to stir the air, relentless sunlight beaming down without interruption, and a ground surface that doesn't just absorb heat, it reflects and recycles it like it's auditioning for the role of Earth's official heat amplifier. If you're now canceling your planned trip to the hottest place on Earth, you're welcome. And also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hydrate like you're walking through the Mojave. And hey, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.